Alright people, welcome to another episode of the Indian MMA Roundtable. On my right is founder and head coach of CrossTrain India, Siddharth Singh.
Hi.
On my left is the guy responsible for Desi Beatdown, Von Brian Saxena. And on my far right, Jiu-jitsu fighter and CrossTrain member Rajiv Kati, who's also the director of Voice Swat Consulting, a sports management firm. And we're here to essentially discuss UFC 204, which took place in Manchester City in England. And Jesus fucking Christ, guys, what a card. What a main event. What do you guys think? Bisping, Henderson.
Awesome fight. We expected it. We expected a war. We saw the first fight, UFC 100. The build-up around it was massive, and the card was huge. And again, this one was centered around it also being Dan Henderson's last fight.
Yeah.
A lot of things go into that. It's a last fight. It's very emotional, and he's been a servant of the sport for over 20 years. So big things there. And then again for Bisping, it was his first title defense.
And
also, hometown.
Yeah.
And he wanted to obviously redeem that loss that he once had, that devastating knockout of UFC 100.
Yeah.
So
Dan Henderson's symbol, right? You see it on his shorts, on his shirt, everywhere.
His gym is of him getting knocked out, and then that flying,
elbow from hell.
Elbow from hell. It was essentially that's what the game was. The game, I think, for Bisping was to make sure he's on his wheels, always moving, picking Henderson apart with his with his punches and kicks, and then for Henderson it was to close the distance, maybe fake for a takedown and go with the overhand right and land.
Well, what I really liked about what Bisping was doing was, even at the beginning of the fight, which is completely unlike the first fight, was he kept pushing Dan Henderson behind the black line of the octagon. Just kept pushing him there, kept cage cutting him, kept making him move towards his right and smashing him with left high kicks to the arm. I don't think one got through, but everything was just blocked on the arm. And as the commentators say, every time you get kicked in the arm, it just takes a little bit away from you. But Dan Henderson, man, what a guy, at 46 years old, to retain that kind of power.
Yeah, man. Also, I think Michael Bisping has been training his left hook a lot.
Clearly.
Yeah, so he was trying that, and then he would leave his left hand down after you throw that, and that's when he got caught the first time in the first round.
And a lot of people keep saying this is something I saw on social media a lot. A lot of people have talked about this and said all Bisping needs to do is avoid Dan Henderson's right hand. Yeah, but the problem is with avoiding Dan Henderson's right hand is you have to set up a lot of different things to avoid that right hand, right? And Dan Henderson's timing, even at 46 years old, is incredibly good.
Yeah, and it's not just one setup for one technique. We spoke about a couple of podcasts ago about someone being a one-trick pony. Dan Henderson is a world-class wrestler. You have to always be aware that at any point in time he can take you down, and you don't want Dan Henderson on top of you, ground pounding you. It's a terrible place to be. So, irrespective of the right hand, you have to be aware of his takedown ability, and which is what happened today. Dan Henderson try and fake the takedown. Bisping, there's nothing he can do. He has to try and defend it, and then he comes on with a overhand right.
First round almost knocked the lights.
Knocked into.
I thought it was over because I thought it was a repeat of what happened at UFC 100.
Exactly.
And he was just going for the kill.
Yeah, because when Bisping fell, his arms were down, everything, his eyes rolled back, and
I thought
he
it was over. It was over. We had a new champion, and he would go back to his house to his beautiful wife with the belt hanging around his waist.
Right after the sunset.
But at least he was very lucky.
I think a lot of, when you talk about modern MMA, there's a lot of criticism recently about fighters coming up with strategies to win and not make it exciting fights. I think Bisping, if I have to look at it from a strategy point of view, came in with just the wrong approach. If he had to win the fight in a safe way, he should have been moving away, circling towards the left side and staying away from the power, but he did not. He was aggressive, he was in there, he was in Dan Henderson's face. He was doing everything Dan Henderson wanted him to do for the right hand. He still moved forward. So this shows you that Bisping is a fighter, guys. He's a fighter through and through.
And he's got phenomenal cardio, man. Because he kept the pace on Henderson till the end of the fight.
Round one to round 5, he was the same, exactly the same speed.
Henderson, after round 2, he was gassed out.
Yeah, that H bomb was then like a Chota H Pataka. It was landing, but it wasn't dropping Bisping.
No, what I think what he did was he completely went all out for the first 2 rounds, took the next 2 rounds off, round 3, round 4 off, and then in the 5th round, and he came back in the 5th round with a takedown and was blasting Bisping with some shots.
Because I think he knew that he had the first 2 rounds in his head at least.
With the knockdowns,
With the knockdowns, he was there, but the 3rd and the 4th round was clearly Bisping's.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because they were so dominating at that particular in those rounds. Then at last he got a nice takedown. But what do you think about the decision, though? I thought it was it should have been a split.
Yeah,
Unanimous.
definitely. I think it was a split decision from my end. I don't know how one of the judges saw it 49-46. I don't know how anyone saw that.
That was a terrible scorecard, actually.
But you know, going into the 5th round and going to the decision, it was anyone's game.
Yeah.
I thought maybe the Henderson's takedown would be enough in the last round.
And he was landing some shots on Bisping as well. He was being very aggressive.
Agreed.
You know, and what a way to end his career, huh? With a cartwheel kick, like out of nowhere, like he jumped.
I've been seeing that a lot in fights recently, man. I'm trying to figure out exactly what are they trying to do. I'm sure they're trying to land with that.
No, you know what they're actually trying to do?
that
Rolling Thunder, it's called.
When it lands, it looks beautiful. When it doesn't land, you really think,
terrible,
what the hell was that?
You look
It
like
was
a monkey.
the-
You look like a monkey rolling over, you know?
If you ever want to see the technique land clean and land absolutely perfect, check out this fight. You'll find on YouTube. It's Peter Graham versus Badr Hari, the first one.
Yeah.
And it's exactly that. Badr Hari has a nice low stance. Peter Graham just turns and cracks him with the heel right to the face, breaks his jaw, like smashes his orbital bone and stuff. And he was out for like I think 8-9 months after that. So it does work. It's just that you have to be very good to get it. It's called Rolling Thunder. The move.
46 years old.
At 46 years old, yeah. And that,
Is he
Smash Bisping up, man.
yeah.
Fuck Bisping up.
Yeah, if you look at the faces, a lot of people talking about it. There are a lot of.
Dan Henderson said it himself. He's like, I wish they judged fights with how people look, right?
After the fight,
After the fight.
But you know what? From the first and second round, that's where most of that face
all the damage
injuries
came
happen.
from, yeah.
3rd, 4th, not so much. 5th again, took some damage.
Which just goes to show, like at 46 years old, that you can lay a right hand on someone and essentially their eye just swells shut. And the worst part was that was Bisping's good eye.
Yeah.
Bisping's right eye had been kicked off by Vitor Belfort, so he's got like oil and stuff to like keep his retina together. Like, he blasted him in the left eye, so like even his left eye was swelling shut. So I think in the first round when he got cracked with that left shot, his eye started swelling and he couldn't see anymore from the left side.
Yeah.
So like pretty much he was fighting half blind. Like, whatever said and done about Bisping, you may think he's a dick, you may think he's an asshole, you may think he's this. Bisping is a fighter's fighter. He's a fighter's fighter. This is a guy that has been training since he was a child. He's been doing boxing, he's been doing kickboxing, moved into Muay Thai, then learned how to grapple, and then has essentially cut his bones in the UFC for the past 10 years. He's got 20 UFC wins.
Yeah, if you go back and watch his fights, not a single fight is boring fight, man.
Yeah.
Every single
He's
fight,
bringing
he's
it.
gone in and he's fought his heart out. You look at his fight with Chris Lieben, with Akiyama, all these fights nobody talks about, man. If you go back and see, he fought his ass off, man. All those fights he worked hard. Rashad Evans, all those fights, man.
Owned
Rockhold, I mean, right now Rockhold must be like turning sideways. Like he's like, what the hell did I do to like cause this fucking main event?
So what do you think is up for Bisping next now? Who does he face? Because there are like the top 5 are in matchups already.
Yeah,
Musashi is free though.
Musashi is free.
We'll come to Musashi later, obviously, but
Musashi is free.
So I think the most touted one is the Yoel versus Weidman winner.
That's the one, because the one with Jacare and Rockhold, like I think even if Jacare wins, I think he'll need one more, because isn't he coming? Yeah, he's coming off one win, but the fight before that he fought Yoel Romero and lost. He lost to Romero. So like I don't know if you can get just like 2 fights and then win. I mean, stranger things have happened in the UFC.
Let's see how. I think it depends on how the other fight goes.
Correct.
How Chris Weidman does.
Right now, I think the main fight that they want to make for Michael Bisping is the winner of Yoel Romero and Chris Weidman meet, and then the winner of that will fight the winner of Rockhold Jacare.
Yeah.
So it just makes more sense, like to have a more cohesive
and Weidman is definitely the more popular fighter.
Going absolutely.
And UFC has been going by ratings lately, making them.
There's a definite discussion to be had regarding ratings and entertainment and actual sport. Like I mean, which we can come to on another day. But for now, we don't really know exactly what's up with the middleweight title picture. I guess once 205 ends or whenever, 205, right?
205.
Yeah. Once that ends, we'll have a clearer picture of who's next.
So talking about ratings, one very underrated guy had a victory today. That's Gegard Mousasi.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. It was a very vintage performance from Gegard Mousasi. It's just the thing. The only sort of little sort of question mark is that Vitor isn't TRT Vitor.
Yeah.
You're not fighting a guy who like looks like he's been like built in a lab somewhere. Like. And you could see it, like after that first blitz when he went.
That was kind of similar to when Vitor fought Weidman. And he tagged him, and Weidman kind of survived that. So if you can handle Vitor's initial storm.
Vitor is always a fighter. He's never a fighter who will come in and he'll pick you apart with the striking. He's always an explosive fighter. He's almost like, if you ever played those racing games, you build up your nitro to the full.
Yeah, and then you
crush. Extreme it, no? That's what Vitor has always done that, man, throughout his career. He built it up.
Silva, all that.
Every time. So, he was doing that today. He did it a couple of times, but everything else was Mousasi, man. Everything else was Mousasi.
Yeah. Mousasi's got like amazing cage control. He was cutting off Vitor, keeping him there.
Yeah, and for all the guys who are learning how to strike in MMA, Mousasi's right hand never left. He fights orthodox, which means
like
his left leg is forward. He's a right-handed guy. His right hand is always back and it's always up, which is always defending. You see a lot of the UFC fighters and a lot of youngsters obviously look up to UFC fighters. Hands are low. Vitor again, hands were here. This is what a lot of people are now picking up because obviously for Muay Thai, for boxing, kids are taught to keep their hands up. But because there's grappling involved, wrestling
shooting
involved,
takedowns.
hands come down just for the takedown defense. Mousasi did not let go of this top hand. He knew most of Vitor's attacks come from the right side, from his
left side
for Vitor. So kept his hand up, kept defending, and when the opportunity presented itself, went ahead and knocked him out.
And I think he spoke about this after the fight as well, right? He said like, if you get guys who fight orthodox and southpaw, which is essentially this. Yeah. So if you can use your left leg to kick someone, the other guy can use his right leg to kick you.
It's a power leg. Whichever leg is in the back, that's a power leg. And even in Muay Thai, if you go to Thailand, as soon they always look down upon people who switch stances in Muay Thai. Primarily because as soon as you switch stance, the power kick goes right to the stomach. As I'm fighting orthodox, left legs forward, I switch. As soon as I switch, my opponent is going to throw a kick to either to the body or to the head. Because all of a sudden you're open to that attack. So, and in a fight where you got orthodox and southpaw fighting, opportunities open up for the power kick, which is what is happening.
I'm assuming a straight left also opens up
yes, power hand,
right? Yeah. No, and Gegard Mousasi, whatever said and done about the guy, he doesn't talk shit, doesn't sort of promote himself.
Dude,
fantastic fighter.
40th win for Gegard Mousasi.
40th win. He's 30 years old. 31 years old.
He's fought. He's 7 losses.
Yeah, 7-8 losses.
Yeah, few losses.
But he's fought almost everyone
in the middleweight division. Pretty
almost
much.
everywhere. Yeah. We spoke about him winning the Strikeforce belt. He's the dream champion. He's fought. He's
fought Pride.
Yeah, he's fought in Pride. He's beaten everyone, man.
I remember.
So he spoke about this in the post-fight press conference that he's ranked at 9 in the UFC and other sites, and Sherdog and all rank him at 10. But according to him, he should be in that top 5.
Yeah,
in that top 5 men.
Now he should.
Yeah. Now that he's beaten Vitor. He's definitely earned his place in the top.
And he's essentially called out for a fight with Henderson Silva, right? I think this is what he wants to do. He wants to fight these guys to cement his legacy. All right, done, and then move on to different things.
I think the only reason why he's so low in the rankings is because he lost to Uriah Hall. So after the fight, he obviously asked for Henderson Silva or Uriah Hall. Obviously, both of them are below him in the rankings.
Yeah, they won't give him
that. But if he probably wants to redeem that loss to Uriah Hall. And with Anderson Silva, obviously it's a money fight. It's a big name.
And no, with Uriah Hall as well, he won the first round handily, like a 10-9. It's just that sometimes this shit happens, guys. You get caught. This is fighting, it happens. And more than anything else, what I was impressed is when Gegard Mousasi fought Uriah Hall, he took a spinning back kick, a flying knee, and he took follow-up punches, was not out. Stood up immediately after the fight. This guy's got a chin and a half on him, huh?
Very stoic,
very tough, very old school.
Just like Juan mentioned, one of the most underrated fighters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even after the fight, he said, they said, how can you put yourself in a top 5 contender spot? And he said, I don't know, I've beaten all the top guys.
Yeah.
Maybe I should throw some cups around.
Exactly. Maybe we get to throw some guys, do a
putting the sassy and no sassy, getting real sassy. But he's a superb fighter. I don't know where. I think Vitor should retire, man.
Yeah, I think he's done.
He's 39. He's 40 years old.
It's time to retire.
It's over. I think Vitor Belfort has had an amazing amazing career. 1997, like I mean, so it's almost 20 years the guy's been fighting.
He's not gonna make another title run. I think maybe he could stick around for a few super fights.
Money fights, yeah, that's
super
about
fights
it.
are there for him.
No, see, you have to take the difficult call, man. He's had an awesome career.
Oh yeah,
you know,
tough careers,
the entire generation, the last 10 years have grown up watching Vitor fight. But you know, now is the point where you start thinking about his health and his safety. He's got a beautiful family. So if you have to think along those lines, then he should retire, man. I'm pretty sure he's got a lot of money. He's got a gym now. He runs his own, MMA gym.
Look, we're no one to tell anyone to retire and all of that stuff, but it just is hard to see a fighter who's so old, like trying to like make it. If the best, just going back to the Dan Henderson Bisping fight, another thing I really want to sort of like say is this is the best way someone could retire. The best way someone can retire. One, you don't get your ass kicked like a lot of guys, because MMA is a sport that eats its old. It does. It's just, it's nature. Nature will win. Strength will always
like
win.
BJ Penn trying to have a rebirth
Exactly.
in MMA.
It's just not going to happen.
It's not going well for him.
Yeah, it's not going well at all. Like MMA is a sport that will destroy its old. So for Dan Henderson to win, to lose a close split decision, and he can always like talk shit, you know, when he grows older, tell his grandkids, oh yeah, you know, I lost that championship fight, but who do you think won? Look at the photos.
The movie's gonna look good.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be a fantastic movie. Like, you know, Dan Henderson's career is something else, and I just wanted to get to that in the sense he's also very old, and that was the best way for someone to retire. For Vitor, even though he went out on a loss, I think he definitely retire. We no one to say, but I don't want to see an aged fighter taking damage anymore. For my entertainment.
Damage to his physical being, but damage to his reputation.
Yeah, and mental state as well. Like, not many people can take a string of 3-4 losses and still like have a healthy disposition in life. Like, it's because everything that you've thrown into training camp, everything you've thrown into training, and then what you lose. Like, you know, so it's very demoralizing, but even then, like, Vitor has nothing to prove to anyone. He's an ex-UFC champion, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer.
Just like Henderson will be.
Just like Henderson will be, Vitor Belfort is a shoe-in for Hall of Famer.
He has his name to live up to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he should definitely retire, and I think Gegard Mousasi should get one of the winners from I think he'll get the Jacare Rockhold winner again.
Yeah, probably.
Because him and Jacare are split, right? They have 1-1 each.
Yes.
One in Dream, he upkicked him, and then this one where he guillotine choked him in the UFC. So they 1-1. So maybe that'll make a good fight as well. And I wouldn't mind seeing Rockhold versus Gegard Mousasi. To be damn honest, that'd be a kick-ass fight. So we'll move on to the next one, and the third fight of the night was number 5th ranked Ovin St. Preux taking on the very underrated, incredibly powerful, I think number 13 ranked Jimmy Manuwa from England. And Jesus Christ, guys, like, I mean, OSP looked like he needs 6-7 months off after that brutal knockout. Like, I mean, so this is how the fight went essentially. The first round started, Ovin St. Preux, superb athlete, I think wrestled all his life, wrestled in college, wrestled in high school, took Jimmy Manuwa down, got back control, was pounding him, but I think Jimmy Manuwa started training with Alexander Gustafsson and all the guys at All Star, and so I've improved his ground game to a point where he can at least defend all these attacks. He got Ovin St. Preux hurt, got him tired, and then in the second round started blasting him with those beautiful body kicks, body blows. Like, there was this one point where he fainted. OSC put his hand up and he went straight to the liver. And you could see it, like he winced, and it was a fantastic performance.
That was just before the right hand
before that right hand landed.
And I was a little disappointed with OSP's ground game because he had the back twice, didn't he?
Yeah, he had the back. He was not able to put the hook in. Second hook, which is what gave Jimmy Manuwa the.
And he just got up as if nothing happened.
And the thing was, he was really smart. So, like, guys, if you ever train jiu-jitsu, you need space to get your hooks into guys, right? You need to get your leg in and put it across here. Your legs have to be here. If you get one leg across, it doesn't matter because the guy can always turn. So you need to get the other leg to control the dude right here. The smart thing Jimmy Manuwa did was he pressed his side up against the cage, which prevented OSP from putting his leg inside and controlling him. So every time he would use the cage to wall walk. So very smart strategy from Jimmy Manuwa, and his striking was so good that OSP couldn't deal with it. That unorthodox striking is great, and he was landing some nice body shots. Like, you'd hear, they sounded like this when it was hitting, Jimmy Manuwa. But that unpredictability also has a few problems because guys can now know, like they'll have a fair idea of what's coming, right? And then they know that your offense is going to create a lot of openings for them to sort of capitalize on.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with Bisping, right? Like if you're throwing so many shots, one of that guy's shots is going to get through, and which is exactly what happened with
And
Jimmy
Henderson
Manu.
knew what he was going to do.
Yeah, he's yet at prime. Like, it's like so I was checking
And
on
it was
Twitter.
not even a cross, it's always an overhand.
Yeah, it's always an overhand. So, I mean, it's the same thing with Jimmy Manu. I hit him with an overhand right, and then once OSP started moving left, he cracked him with that left. And
And
He did the stanky leg.
yeah, he did the
stanky
stanky leg, and he felt exactly like how Krokop did when Krokop got knocked
I
out.
was worried about
Scary,
his-
man. Scary looking, and the way they land, the knees on the inside, the body's falling outside.
Ankle as well. No,
Suddenly your flexibility goes off the roof, yeah?
Really scary, man.
You become the most flexible person.
It'd be like break
Because
dancing.
he'll need to get his knee checked by the end of it, because the way you fall, you're
Ankle, man, your
unconscious.
ankle. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what like
Ankle, knee, I think
turns
they,
in.
The left knee, was it? Or the right one?
The left one.
left one,
Yeah,
yeah.
just
And he just turned, and it was
I was half asleep and I was like, what?
it was a
I
fantastic
think
fight.
he's looking at least 6 months suspension. After
minimum,
that.
minimum.
I don't think
Yeah,
he's fighting
knockouts
before
are
that.
usually 6 months.
180 days, no, 180 days, right? Yeah, it's good as well. Like a lot of people say, oh, why are they being suspended for so long? And it's just one question I actually had. I remember speaking to a few MMA journalists about this, and no one really had an answer. Okay, so when this is just going a little bit off topic here, guys, but it's very important for MMA. So when someone gets suspended for a knockout, so say the guy says, okay, the Nevada State Athletic Commission or whatever, wherever you're fighting, says that, okay, you got knocked out, you need to recover for 6 months, right? Who monitors those 6 months?
I think it's a fight promotion, no?
No, nobody monitors it. That's what the journalist told me. Nobody monitors this.
You mean
it's like
it-
in good faith.
Oh yeah. So
It's like you
basically, you
won't-
can be back in training, but you can't be back in
can't
competition
fight.
in
Yeah,
those 6 months.
exactly.
So
But-
guys go back to training in a
Spar.
couple of weeks, and spar, and then they
Exactly. So that's what's scary about it, right?
Yeah.
When you get brutally knocked out, you should be smart enough to know that your brain has been rattled and you should take at least 6 months off without any contact. Do jiu-jitsu, do wrestling, do not like take strikes to the head. Like it's the worst time to be taking strikes to the head.
Donald Cerrone said in his interview with Joe Rogan that he's completely stopped sparring now. He's doing zero.
Just technique, right?
Yeah,
Just
he's
working
doing
on
zero
technique.
sparring now.
But that's also a good phase, no? It's a good
Yeah.
phase where you can add skill, skill to your already vast skill set. But with these fighters, and we've seen a lot of people here, the time they lose a fight, they get knocked out, that's where they want to be back in the gym as soon as possible and start working on themselves. And usually they go back to striking if they've been knocked out, or they go back to grappling if they've been tapped. That's usually how it happens. If you've been knocked out, you want to go back and start sparring again, just to prove to yourself, I think, more than anyone else.
It's also that fighter mentality, right? Like sometimes think about it. When Matt Brown fought Damian Maia, everyone in the world said like this is a horrible matchup for Damian Maia.
Yeah.
But Matt Brown still took the fight. Why? Because as the fighter, he's like, fuck it, this is a tough challenge. I will. That's how they do it. Like the fighters lie to themselves to get to a point. It's not natural to walk into a cage and like hammer someone who's, who's also trained like that. So you have to have a mindset where you're.
Everyone said that Matt Brown's going to get choked by Damian Maia.
Yeah, he still took
And
the fight.
he still took the fight, still got choked.
Yeah, still got choked. Took the fight. Yeah. But that's how guys are, like that's how fighters are. And fighters have this thing to prove. I got knocked out, so I have to knock the next guy out. Like, so that everybody around the world also, I need to prove this to myself that I'm not a bad striker.
Right. I think it's about satisfying your own conscience.
Fighting, whatever said and done, of course, you have your teammates and everything, but at the end of the day, when that cage door shuts, it's just you. It's an incredibly selfish sport.
Yeah.